Good afternoon, all of you. Right. Good afternoon, all of you. No student is there in the class who is on the live. So, to what extent you are able to listen, we could not assess. I request some of the students at least to join for the class. Variance analysis. In the yesterday's class already I have given you the information about the various aspects relation to variance analysis and how it will be, how to calculate and analyze the variances. And before that, let us go back to once for the unit number 8, which is relating to budgeting process. In the yesterday's class, already I had given you the information about the budgeting, how the budgeting helps, and what are the various important features of the budget, and how best the budgeting helps for the control of the various functional areas, and what is the important element in the process of the budgeting system, and so on. అబ్బే వెయ్యి వెయ్యి కనపట్లే వెయ్యి కనపట్లేదు అసలు what is the purpose of budgeting and how better you are able to prepare for the budget and all. So what are the types of the budget and how best these performance budgets are useful for that flexible budget. All these aspects that we have given in the previous sessions. As I told you, budget is a quantified statement of plan and it helps us to evaluate the performance of each functional area. And the formation of the budget is basically with the 4 objectives. In the basic objective of the budgeting process, as I told you, is to provide to clear understanding about the various activities in the organization, to communicate the different levels of that, different heads of the budgets, and how far these budgets are helpful, to provide a comprehensive plan for the actions, and at the same time to provide a meaningful evaluation of the performance for the different budgeted sections. So in this process, each budget center will have its own responsibility and all the budget centers will have equal responsibility towards the success of the organization. And then formation of the budget, then what are the key elements of the budget? The behavioral aspects of the budget is also given a clear understanding on that. So what budgeting process? That is participation of budgeting process, degree of budget and goal difficulty, involvement of senior management and budget department. These are the various important aspects of the budgeting sessions. And then types of budget. In the case of types of budget, the various types of budgets are discussed in the previous session. That is one, general budget, functional budget, specific budget, master budget. So what are the various general types of budgets? In that we clearly discussed about the aspects related to the budgeting. So in this process, we clearly discussed about general budgets are classified into 3 main important aspects. One is a long-term budget. A long-term budget is basically talks about the 5 to 10 years of time. And in the case of short-term budget, it is less than 5 years. That is from 1 to 3 years. Whereas current budget basically talks about 1 year time. And in the case of the rolling budget, normally the budget will not be prepared for a specific year, and the budgeting process will be carried on a rolling process. That is, next year budget will be prepared this year, and so on. And interim budgets normally speaks about the budgets between two functional areas, two budget periods, sorry. Then in the case according to function, budgets are prepared on the basis of the function what they carry out. That is sales budget, which talks about the sales budget basically talks about the sales budget basically talks about the budgeting performance of the sales function. Then just 1 minute. Just give me 1 minute time. So in this process, three students, one student joined in the class, Sanket Chaudhary. So as on this particular point, and now we are coming to according to the flexibility, we have clearly understood about the process, that is flexible budget and fixed budget. And then finally, we have understood about the zero-based budgeting process, which helps us to the zero-based budgeting process, which talks about the scratch level, and every aspect is considered as a scratch, that is 0 point, as there is no activity, and how best this activity can be improved. These are the very, very important aspects that we have to understand. In the case of zero-based budgeting, zero-based budgeting, every activity is considered as a fresh. And that activity is considered as if new, and then we will go for the process of budgeting on the day. That means if it is assumed that there is no sales activity in the last year, then now what will be the sales? How much will be the sales for this particular year? And like that we will evaluate. That means previous year's data will never be considered as a basis. And then in the case of traditional budgeting process, normally we take the previous year's data as previous year's data as a basis, and on the basis of that we will increase will increase or decrease the budgeting activities, and then on the basis of that we will increase or decrease the budgeting activities, and then we will adjust the figures for that. That is one another aspect. Then completely comparable to the master budget. A master budget basically talks about the aspects which includes all the aspects of the previous year's data. Or that means it includes all the functional areas also. These are the main important elements what we discussed in the previous class, and budgeting control and how best budgetary controls are useful. Then variance analysis aspects that we have covered in the previous class. The variance analysis, as I told you, variance is basically the difference between the budgeted data and actual data. So what is actual, what is budget? What is the difference between these two? What are the reasons for this budgeting process? These are the important elements. Now we are going for the another important element that is called reporting process. When we are talking about the reporting process, Yes, yes, of course. Reporting process, what we normally speak is that labor price variances, labor variances, all they are reported in different formats. So when we are talking about that one, so types of reports basically we will understand and what any level transfer. Sir, any students, please join. At least one or two join. So in the variance process, actually we understood that labor variances, material variances, price variances, overhead variances and all. Then we understood about the process of reporting the variances. Now we are going to do it. Variance actually the practice of reporting the deviations to the software management, that is time period comparison is the most important element. Then what is the main objectives of the reporting? That is first we are going to understand in this present class. So in this class, the primary objective of reporting is to obtain a required information about the operating results of the organizational activity. So how best the people are able to effectively use the resources, that is operating results are important. So secondary objective is to secure understanding of the role of the judgment by the by the people engaged in the various aspects of the work enterprise to determine the degree of performance, and degree of performance and its responsibility for which is concerned. The formulation is to be measured for the result. That is, formulate the measures to improve the performance of the responsibility center. So in these four objectives, why we are preparing the reporting process is easily understandable. And next, essentials of a good the characteristics of a good report are essentials of a good reporting system. And every report must be in the form of a prescribed form, and it is format is very essential. Then proper time, with the report must be published in the proper time and alone, and proper flow of information is to be provided, and flexibility is an important nature. So, but then facilitation of the evaluation as well as comparison. These are the main important elements. And then economy of the reporting process is very understandable. These are the some of the important elements about the this one. Basic requisites of a report. That is another important question which will be useful for you to the examination point of view. So basic elements of that, that is said to be first one is said to be promptness. A report should be prompt and it should clear understanding to the people who are going to cover. And form and consent. So form and consent. A good report should have a suggestive title, heading and subheadings, paragraphs, divisions like your project report. And then summary of all presented positions must be given there. Then comparability. So a report must be comparable. That is one. Figures should be given for some previous period, such as last month, last year, and so on. Your reports must compare the present report, present month to the previous month. And consistency. Next point is that consistency. The report must be consistent, is the presentation of the same type of information as between different reporting periods. Uniform procedure should be followed over a period of time. So, what all the information that we are providing must be related to one single element. Then simplicity. The report should be in simple, unambiguous, and concise form. In other words, report should avoid technical jargon which are presented in the simple style. If you use more amount of technical jargons, which technical jargon means critical words, which cannot be understandable by a normal person, then that is also a difficult process. In these aspects, we have to understand that. Then simplicity and controllability. When we are talking about controllability, so controllability and appropriateness. Appropriateness. So when we are talking about appropriateness, the report must give complete picture about the what are the various aspects that are going to be covered, and these aspects are to be understood very clearly. Then then we will be able. Then finally, we will talk about the various aspects that are relating to classification of reports and usefulness of reports is also another important element. Then, when we are talking about performance evaluation, how best you are able to evaluate the performance of the each individual units. Normally, in every organization, different unit-wise performance that is to be analyzed and compared. That what we can compare with it, division A, division B, and so on. So a manufacturing division, how it will be useful for that? What is the performance evaluation? So the various tools and techniques are there for the evaluation of the performance for individual divisions. So in that division A, performance may be evaluated on the basis of the return on investment. Division B on the basis of productivity. Division C on the basis of performance development, and so on. Like that, what is the key element in the key element? What is the key element in the aspect that should be understandable? Then what are the various the key aspects that are given for that performance evaluation as per the GE Motors? It is given that 8 key elements are identified. That is called profitability, productivity, market position, product leadership, personal development, and so on and so forth. These are the various important aspects. Employee attitude, public relations, and balance between the short-term and long-term goals. These are various important key elements on which the performance is assessed for that. Then, what are the various techniques of the performance appraisal that is given in 10.3, paragraph number? In that, different aspects. That the first one very, very important element is that is balance scorecard. When we are talking about balance scorecard, what is the balance scorecard? And that elements you have to understand. In the case of balance scorecard, we normally talk about the length and the growth of the organization, business process, customer perception, financial data, and so on. That is the first important element. Second is contribution margin approach. So how much will be the contribution margin in the organization, and what is the contribution that is provided in the costing system? Already you understood that contribution margin is the difference between the sales and variable cost. and controllable divisional overheads. Finally, fixed non-controllable divisional overheads that gives contribution margin and allocation of fixed overheads to the organization. Then profit before tax. Then less tax, that is called as net profit after tax. This is also taken as the criteria to measure the performance of each division. And then with the return on investment, ROI, return on investment, that is equal to return on investment, that is return on total assets, then return on investment. That is also considered as a good measure of investment. So the investment capital or sales revenue by profit margin or sales revenue into that is the net divisional performance is assessed on this basis. Like that, various measures are there. And lastly, residual income measure is also another important area in this. Then residual income approach. Economic value added approach. Economic value added approach basically talks about how much is the value addition to a product or service. So how much is the reformation is going on? How much is the process of activity that is carried out on a raw material process and so on. These are the other important measures which we are going to understand. And then performance reports is another key area. Then we are going to talk about unit number 11. In that unit number 11 is management audit. So in the unit number 11, we go for the management audit. Actually, what is the meaning of management audit? How best it can be done. So the management audit is a total examination of the transactions. So you know about financial audit, we know about cost audit, then we are going for the management audit. So in the case of the financial audit, management auditor, in the case of the the financial audit, we go for the various aspects that are relating to we go for the various areas that are relating to the financial aspects, that is accounting, taxation, and so on. Whereas in case of management audit, we talk about the objectives of the organization, how better these objectives are basically shared among them, the policies, procedures in terms of objectives in the organization, adequate performance of the organization in terms of budgets, objectives, policies, procedures laid down, and so on. So according to ICA MBA terminology, management audit is the objective of independent appraisal of the effectiveness of the manager and effectiveness of the cooperative structure of the achievement of the company and policy synthesis. It aims at identifying how best the potential managers are able to meet its objectives and so on. These are the other very, very important elements. So what is the difference between management audit and types of audit? And types of audits are also there in the internal audit, operational audit, functional audit, and so the management audit basically expected to go further. Appraisal of the management system. Attitude of the management audit is friendly, philosopher, and agency. Agency is outside team management. Management audit, carrying out management audits, normally outside management people will be considered. It is not mandatory, management audit is completely voluntary. Area of scope is that the complete management and specific objectives are there, specific problems are identified with that. The period of the coverage is basically talks about past and present and the future. These are the some of the important aspects that normally we cover about. So in the case of management audit procedure, it is given in the 11 point steps in the management audit. So it is given in 11.3 paragraph number. So first of all, identify what is the area of operation of the manager. Area of operation of the manager. So in which area you want to carry out the management audit. Establish what should be the objective and standard and target operational procedures. So in what is the procedure for carrying out the management audit, that is to be identified. Then determine whether the actual results meet the standards, normal or targets and so on. It is not. And if the target is too difficult to achieve or not. If the target is too difficult to achieve, you cannot go for that. Then if it is a failure to achieve the target costing, and that, so what will be the process to achieve or moderation? What are the steps to be taken for that? What is planning, operation, execution, implementation, and so on? These are the various important steps that we normally carry out. And the role of management audit is given in 11.5. The main role of the management audit is that management audit basically takes care about the managers, supervisors, and the directors, different functional area people will be introduced. So it covers about the managers, it covers the supervisors and also the functional areas, organization structure, equipment, facilities and their utilization, methods and systems, and then finally security of information is provided. These are the various roles of the management audit department. So with that, this block is completed. And now we are entering into the last block, that is unit number 12, block number 12, 5, unit number 12. Management control systems in the multinational organizations. In the multinational organizations, the management control systems are basically covered in the aspect related to this one. Block number 5, management area, management control systems in that. So this aspect, this is basically talks about the management control system in international business activities, management control systems in the decision-making environment, and structure of international business and exchange rates. So what is exchange rate phenomena? In that we normally identify. So exchange rate means the different countries' currencies are exchanged with one another. So it also influenced by exchange rate is, say for example, dollar to the Indian rupee to the dollar, and so on. So for Japanese pound, foreign, these, how much is the Japanese pound? What is the Indian rupee value in foreign country? And these are exchange rates. So in the case of that, it also influenced by the various other factors, that is interest rates in the respective countries, terms of purchase, spot and forward contracts, and riskiness of the country and political operations. What are the factors that is that? These are various types of risks also are involved in this process. So issue of taxes, these are the one tax rates which are applicable in that particular country, that is also considered to evaluate the risk proposals. Then capital gain arises out of the sale or transfer of the capital asset, then short-term capital gain, long-term capital gain, which are going to be in place. These are the various important elements that are to be normally identified for the purpose of gaining the control over the various operations. In the entire unit number 13, management control of the projects of multinational organizations. So, role of control in project management, that is 13.2, paragraph number 13.2. Single objective must be there. Second one is organization structure, focus on the project, need for the trade-off, and less reliable standards, and like that 9 points are given here. If the students are able to understand and repeat these 9 points, that will be very good for the purpose of gaining marks and all. Control process in the projects. So organizational control structures, that is project structure, matrix structure. These project structure and matrix structure already we discussed in the very beginning of the session. And then contractual relations, that is fixed price contracts, cost plus reimbursement contracts, contracts of the control types and all. Phases of the project control report, in what are the various phases in which we can control the project. So it can be done in the case of the project planning and nature of the project plan and so on. So network analysis, critical path reasoning, and program evaluation review technique. And these are the various other important functional area techniques which are useful for the control aspects in the project, right? So with that, with due thanks to the Ambedkar Open University administrative branch and our other functional areas to providing me this opportunity to give some information. I am not telling you that I have given you total information about this. Satish Garu. Satish is only present in the class. And
Sir,
Satish, thank you very much for attending the class. At least you are there in the class for the online. And other students, I hope even though they are following on the YouTube lecture, I request all the students for to write well the examinations. You are in the 4th semester. This is the last class which is scheduled as per the Ambedkar University schedule that is given to us. So any student who requires any sort of information, I request them to make a call or just even a message. I am always available for the clarification of doubts and all. So don't worry, you will all get get good degree, and this degree is very much valuable and no other comparison doubt for that. So I request all the students to complete the degree at the earliest and settle in their future endeavors, right? Satish and
thank you,
others.
sir.
So, but I request all the other students in also, if you have any doubts, always you are having my number, so you can contact me. And for any other academic assistance also, most welcome. I will provide the assistance to the maximum possible extent, to what extent I can help you. So, thank you very much. And I thank the Ambedkar University people also for giving me this opportunity to extend the classes for you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye.